Hey, what's up everybody? This is Super501 and today I want to show you guys a Moze build that easily allows you to kill and farm anything on Mayhem 10. Now this is going to be another Yellowcake build because I want to do one for every Vault Hunter. But with that being said, we can go into the talents. Now, this build is really good at killing bosses. On Mayhem 10, you can even one-shot a bunch of bosses, but it is also built to also be good for just mobbing. And if you want to go to the raid, if you want to do slaughter chefs, it still should be pretty good for those as well. So first off, we're going to the Bottomless mags tree because there is a lot of important parts of the build in this tree. First, Cloud of Lead, every fourth shot. Does it consume ammo? Does extra incendiary damage? Soak the Embers, extra incendiary damage, which all of our shots do incendiary damage. Redistribution, this was recently buffed a bit before the Mayhem 2.0 patch. Instead of just ammo regen when you crit, you also get health regen, and with 2 into this, it's 5% of your missing health per second. So this is pretty nice because we have extra survivability that's not just completely based on Vampire. Then Scrappy, which this was buffed as well. So while moving, Moze's weapon damage, handling, weapon swap, mode swap speed are increased. Now they added the weapon damage and you're moving most of the time. So this is just a really big damage increase. It also helps if you have difficulty controlling the weapon, which this weapon, it really doesn't matter that much in. Scorching RPMs, fire rate, critical damage, Iron Bear damage. The Yellowcake can crit, and then the Iron Bear damage is also really good because Iron Bear actually does a ton of damage. Then we have Specialist Bear. When your Iron Bear is using the 2 of the same weapons, increases damage by 60%, really good. Then one of the important talents, especially when you're mobbing, doing the raid, doing slaughter shafts, is Some for the Road. After you exit Iron Bear, you have infinite ammo for 5 seconds. With the Yellowcake, it does not give you charge up or overheating because it is a COV weapon, but it does not do that. So it pretty much stops the overheating wherever it is. I think when you get out of Iron Bear. So that is also very good with a COV weapon overheating and this stopping that for 5 seconds. It's super strong because this thing overheats really quickly normally. And also with a lot of the changes that came with Moze, you can get your Iron Bear back all of the time now. It's pretty ridiculous. So then we're going to the Demolition Woodman tree, firing the Skag Den. When you do splash damage, you deal extra incendiary damage on top of all the damage you deal, which all of our damage is splash damage. We have Means of Destruction, 3 into this. Whenever you deal splash damage, you have a chance to add ammo back to your weapon and grenade back. So with the Yellowcake, with how slow it shoots, you're never going to run out of ammo. And mainly this is also for the grenades because the grenades are still our main healing. Target cross promotion, this was also buffed and now adds splash damage increase with the chance to double the splash damage radius. So splash damage increased by 36%, then an 18% chance to double the radius. Auto Bear, this is pretty important because once you exit Auto Bear because you just want to get it and get out, this stays out. And what's really good with this is it does also proc your Means of Destruction and it does a ton of damage even on Mayhem 10. And even though the action skills in the game haven't been skilled correctly for Mayhem 10, with all of these buffs for Iron Bear, Auto Bear actually does deal a decent bit of damage. Then I pull the Holy Pen so your grenades can crit just some extra damage. Vampire, I only did 3 into this because how much the grenades heal you, and with our extra healing from Redistribution, you really don't need full Vampire. This, when you throw grenades, it pretty much heals you. Then we have Explosive Punctuation. This was also nerfed or buffed sometime recently. I forget when it was, but when you do a splash damage, your action skill cooldown rate is briefly increased. It's 40% now. This is one of the big ones to get your Iron Bear back just all of the time. Then we have Short Fuse. Whenever you deal gun damage, there's a chance for a secondary explosion to happen, which with the Yellowcake doing this much damage, it can just blow up and just do a ton more damage. The rest of our points are in Shield Retribution. We get gun damage and damage reduction when your shields are active. And then we have Drowning in Brass, which gives you a stacking gun damage increase. It reduces your fire rate, but that's not that big of a deal with a Yellowcake that you can't spam shoot anyway because of the overheating. For our weapons, for our Iron Bear, you're going to want to use miniguns and then exploding bullets. The exploding bullets just makes it incredibly high damage, but also it's splash damage. So it procs everything else we have that procs splash damage. It also procs Means of Destruction, like I said. All of it just synergizes really well to give your Auto Bear some pretty good damage and to help you get ammo back and more so grenades back. So with that being said, we can go into our items. Now, for the items, we already went over that this is going to be a Yellowcake build. Now, Yellowcakes are extremely strong. I'd recommend, like I've said before in videos that I went over just this weapon, make sure to go get this from the Cartel event before it's over. They're incredibly strong. A really good anointed is gained 300% increased weapon damage against enemies above 90% health. It's super good for killing bosses. This also helps allowing you to one-shot Mayhem 10 bosses, as you'll see in some of the footage. It's also still really good against mobbing enemies because you can one-shot a lot of them with that increased damage from it, because because if something has above 90% health and you hit it with one shot, it gets that increased damage. Even if it one shots a target, even if it takes them below 90%, it still gets that increased damage. So it's incredibly strong, but tons of other annoyances are going to be really good with this. You know, most annoyances give increased splash damage when you exit Iron Bear, stuff like that. A lot of them are still going to be really good. This one is definitely one of the better ones. For our grenade mod and shield mod, I'm still just using pretty much the same thing I use on most of my builds now. Is on extra go end, you gain elemental damage for 10 seconds. It's still super good. You can still get those pretty easily for the most part. Just get a tanky shield on top of it. Another really good shield for this build could be the O.M, which is one of the raid shield mods that has a amp effect that's like 125%, which is super strong, and then also drops an amp field when your shield breaks. That could definitely be good if you're going against some bosses that have a little bit more health that you can't one-shot. That could let you one-shot even more bosses, but still I'd recommend getting the elemental effect. With how much base damage we do, any addition to that is incredibly strong, and getting any tanky shield with the elemental anointed is really good. For the grenade mod, still the cloning maddening tracker. Because the grenade mods on Mayhem 10 or our grenades aren't our main damage, using a level 51 is still fine to use because it's mainly to heal you, it's mainly to proc means destruction and stuff like that. It's still really strong. This is still the best grenade mod for Moze. Then we have an elemental effect on it. I just have an incendiary one. Make sure not to stack the anointeds on your shield and grenade mod, have them be different elementals. For our class mod, I'm still using the 50 baby boomer with 3 means of destruction because it has well-rolled talents on this, but with all the changes to Moze, with her Iron Bear getting up so much more frequently, and some of the other changes, you may not need a class mod with means of destruction on it. There is a legendary one that can roll means of destruction as well, but you may not need one with that rolled on it. I would test out some other class mods and see if your grenades aren't coming back. If you're running out of grenades, then you may need one with means of destruction, but if you're not, you can just use whatever other class mod. And for our artifact, we're using the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. There's not really any other class mods that are going to give us damage increases. This one, consecutive successful hits increase your damage by 1% second 15 times. At max stacks, you gain an additional 90%. Now, even if you're not getting these stacks up super frequently, this is still the class mod that's pretty much giving you damage increases. Most other don't. We usually use the Flesh Melter ones, but we aren't using corrosive damage anymore. So this is pretty much the best you're going to do. The artifact isn't super important to this build. So that is the entirety of the build. I'm going to be doing Yellowcake builds for the other 2 Vault Hunters as well, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. Then we're going to start doing, you know, other builds, hopefully doing other Mayhem builds, other Mayhem 10 raid builds, stuff like that. So subscribe if you want to see more Borderlands 3 content. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about this build, and thanks for watching.
Witness the Agonizer 9000!
Get shredded!